Hey everyone, so this is just another in a long line of updates. So not being happy with the enclosure I have, you can see I'm kind of just wedging pieces of raft in between areas to keep the drafts down and whatnot. I am designing a new one that's, I don't know, something like the 10th time I've probably printed that. Yeah, probably more than that. I've got boxes and boxes. Oh, almost fell. It was gonna be bad. Okay. So yeah, all the different deals I've got in here. Let's see, do I have? I don't know, something. Anyway, ABS, PLA. I figured, you know, save it. Maybe I might be able to crush it later into a nice fine powder and then remelt it into more filament. Who knows? So, I'm working on this new design. I have tweaked it a number of times, adding support here and tweaking the angle of the arms, I guess. Just doing whatever I can to get this thing to work right. This here is the top brace. Kind of hard to see. I suppose I could probably open the doors. So this is the top brace, and those little arms that are outreaching there, those are for a couple of screws that will attach to the top here. So I'll have to drill just a couple of holes, and then I'll be able to, it'll wrap around that support and then drill right to the top. That is the idea. And then this, of course, is the outside. You see these little dime size holes right here. Those are for magnets, 10mm neodymium magnets. So that will be what holds the plastic, the plexiglass, to the frame. So the way this one is, it's pretty much set. I can't move this thing. I can't take it out without probably damaging it. It's very cumbersome. I got a very small opening in the front to actually do anything with, and that sucks. So I am designing these ones to where all I have to do is pull the sides and it'll pop right off, because it'll just be magnets. And so it'll be, of course, 3 of the bottom ones down here, and 3 top ones up here, and a nice curved, better curved plexiglass up top. I've learned my lesson, hopefully, on bending plexiglass, and I'll do a much better job next time. And then the front will be hinged, but it'll be hinged off of the plexiglass that's on one of the sides, this side, or probably this side. So it'll be actually got screws in it and the whole bit, and then it'll be hinged, and then the magnets on this side will, of course, hold it shut. So it'll be a much better design, much fewer gaps, much better enclosure, just in general. So working on that, and you'll notice there is next to no strings on this. I've had nothing but problems. Yesterday was probably the worst day I've ever had in my life on printing. I went from ABS to PLA, because ABS is great, but it's not necessarily great for rigid building. And besides, I was running out of black. So, and I wanted these ones to be black because I got switch red everywhere else. Although most of that red's going to go away. Oh well, anyway, I'll rethink that later. Anyway, nothing but problems. I was having strings, I was having blobs, I was having all kinds of issues. And this is after upgrading to the E3V V6 hot end and the Bondtech extruder. Got that in place. Yeah, I guess I haven't even mentioned that yet. So I got the Bondtech extruder in place. It's not exactly where I want it yet. I had to order some more Bowden tube, and I had to order some more of this flexible, expandable wire sheath. And so once it gets here, I'll be able to position it where I actually want it, but for right now, this is fine. At least it's outside the enclosure. It gets a little bit of air. I do want to get a fan on this as well, but I actually want to reposition this anyway. I have to have it at an angle just because of I didn't want to cut into this top plate if I, you know, had any choice about it. I didn't want to cut into it. I still might have to once I get everything, but we'll see. And then this is kind of a cool little deal. Found this on Thingiverse. I'll see if I can find it again and post a link to it. But this is a nice little spindle. It works off of a skateboard bearing. And stupidest thing, could not. I went to like 3 different stores to find a skateboard bearings. Could not find them. And I found plenty of skateboard, just no stupid bearings. Anyway, finally wound up in an academy. They had a package of skateboards, or skateboard wheels with the bearings. They wanted 20 bucks for the stupid things, for 2 wheels. Only 2 wheels with the bearings, 20 bucks. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? So I went over to the skateboard area of the academy, and they had skateboards with 4 wheels and all the bearings and a board and the trucks and everything for 15 bucks. So I bought a skateboard, and I've since thrown away the wood part, but I kept the trucks and the wheels and used one whole bearing to put this together. So it's kind of a snazzy little deal. Lifts up, just being held on by gravity, really. Oh, put it back, put it back. This right here, this little screw is just the normal screw that's on the corners here. It's just holding the whole thing in place. So it can be moved from peg to peg. I just have it here because the filament coming off, of course, has got to go right into the extruder and then down the hole. But really nice design. I really like it. This right here, this is all ABS, by the way. I printed the whole thing in ABS. Very pretty, very nice design, very good print. Holds, I mean, you can tell I got plenty of extra there. This is a standard size, I would say, roll filament, but I can put a big roll up here without any problem. It's fantastic. And it just spins away. And it's next to no friction, so it doesn't. The extruder doesn't have to work to pull anything. You know how it grinds over top of any kind of holder. Generally, no grinding. This is just smooth as it can be. So anyway, got that going for me. That was another update. The friggin' Bowden tube. Holy nuts! I've had nothing but problems with this thing. So because the extruder is now on top of the machine, and I originally cut the Bowden tube to fit where the extruder was originally, you know, dangling right here, the Bowden tube, of course, was a little bit short. Well, lucky for me, I happen to have more Bowden tube off of the old Maker Farm, Rostock, or no, the old printer. Anyway. This was extra off of that one. So I went ahead and used what I had left, which was just enough to let it flow across the entire build plate. Well, then I had issues. For whatever reason, this particular Bowden tube, I don't know if it's more slick, I don't know if it's different dimensions, I don't know. Anyway, the damn thing kept popping out of the extruder, pissing me off. So I'd set up a print, you know, one of these guys, and I'd go inside and watch TV or do something, and come back out, and the darn Bowden tube had popped out up here where the extruder is, and it was like dangling down here, and there's filament absolutely everywhere, and it's just a disaster, just a disaster. So fixed all that. Ended up I zip tied this to this other zip tie that's holding all this wire in place, and the reason I did that wasn't to hold the Bowden in place so it wouldn't pop out, because I don't think that would prevent it. But what it does is it makes, because of the angle, let's see if I can get... There, I got it. Gee, stupid phone shut off. Anyway, because of the angle of attack here, for this Bowden tube, when it rests to the edge of that hole going down into the printer, it puts the Bowden tube at a really acute angle, and which is fine. It'll print fine, but the problem is I think it puts too much pressure on those little teeth inside that Bowden tube holder, and it's able to work itself loose. So I think that was the original problem, so I went ahead and pulled that Bowden tube all the way to the end. Actually, I cut off just a hair bit of Bowden tube to get rid of the teeth-gripped end of it, and then moved it to the edge. and it seems to be doing really well. It's done this entire print. This is the first print I've done with it, and it's done this whole print and not had one little hiccup. So I think that was possibly it. The problem is that the bowden tube is so tight when it's first starting on the Build Tech plate here. It is tight. I mean, it comes all the way to the end, and I'm like, it's going to pop out just because it's pulled in so much. But it just does it, and it does a fantastic job. And of course, it gets looser as it goes up. So I'm pretty happy with it, honestly. I'm probably gonna leave it something similar to this in the final version. But it is working. It's working great now. So, and I'm doing a fantastic job. So I was having all these troubles yesterday with blobs and strings. Oh my God, the strings. Even with the ABS, I was getting tons of strings. One of the reasons why I changed over to PLA. I got one little string right there, so that's not bad. But I mean, it looked like a spider had a field day over the course of 5 years. That many strings. It was terrible. So I started looking up in the forums and whatnot what to do about all these strings and blobs, and they're like, oh, speed up your extruder on your retraction, speed up the retraction, and speed up the extruder, and retract more, retract less. I mean, do all these different settings, right? Finally found a CNC model that had a series of cubes spaced different distances apart, and ended up using that, and just I must have printed that thing a couple dozen times, and I just kept changing little things, you know. And what I ended up doing is going all the way back to defaults on everything inside Matter Control, and starting from there, and then printed the cubes, and you could tell right away it wasn't going to work on some of those prints. So, canceled them, cleared off the base, reprinted them with different settings, and I just did that a bunch of times. Finally found the proper settings. Come to find out, for whatever reason, and maybe it's just the way I've got the bowden tube set up or whatever, the extruder doesn't like the fast speeds. Maybe it was skipping, I don't know, it was making some kind of weird sounds. But I was all the way up at one point. I started out like 110, and then went to 150, then went up to 200, and it was just getting worse and worse. I'm like, what the hell? Everybody says you're supposed to speed up the friggin' retraction. Well, come to find out, for whatever reason, this extruder likes it slow, at least in the configuration that I have it in. So I'm all the way down to 50, and that seems to make it happy. And I think let me check. I think my retraction settings are 6 millimeters, I want to say. Yeah, I suppose I can show you here instead of having you just look at that. Oh, for the love of crap. No, I can't find it. Let me find, yeah, 6 millimeters on retraction. And then the speed is 50 millimeters a second. So that seems to have done the trick. And I've also got the Z lift at 0.5 millimeter, which seems to help as well. I retract when changing islands and wipe after retract. I got all that stuff set. So anyway, had a hell of a time getting that right. Oh yeah, that's the model I'm currently printing. Generally speaking, I print from SD cards, but because I was having so many problems, I brought the laptop down in the garage, and I've been printing directly from it for a little while until I had all my settings right, which it looks like I may have at least got them close. At least close enough to deal with. So anyway, just thought I would whip out this update since I haven't posted anything in about a week, and show you all the progress I made. I work on this thing, and as soon as I get off of work, I work on this thing like constantly. But it's fun. It's a nice little hobby, and what I can produce with it is incredible. So I'm pretty happy about that. In case anybody's wondering, I modeled this stuff with Autodesk. There we go. Autodesk 123D design, and pretty okay modeler. It lacks a lot of features, but for what I do, it's pretty darn decent. And it has some annoying bugs, but less than it used to have, so I guess that's good. And getting it to cooperate is a trick too. And they're out. There we go. So that's that for the top, and then the, oh, what the heck, show. There it is. And this right here is the, okay, I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time. And this is the little arms for the bottom. So this just, these arms just grab hold of the towers. Whoops, don't touch the extruder while, or don't touch the hot end while it's going. That's not good. Throws everything off. It's just bad, just really bad. Anyway, it grabs hold and those little divots go right into there, and so it kind of just holds it. It doesn't have to be tight. I don't mind that it's a little bit loose, but anyway, those arms, and you can see I had to add reinforcement because I broke the suckers off the first time. Those will mount right there. These ones are a little wider because they have to be able to go around the wood up here. Yeah, the wood up here around it already. And I didn't want anything to be able to affect the cartridges going up and down, so this won't, and in fact it sticks out just enough from the towers to allow these to go up and down even with the plexiglass on. So took that into account, but it just barely clears. It's probably maybe a millimeter or maybe a millimeter and a half clearance on either side, so just enough room. So I should have a pretty good enclosure after this is all done. Hopefully I don't snap anything off. I've broken so many of these damn things. Especially these little guys, these little screw hole jobbies in here. I snap them off in a heartbeat. So I've had to add ample support. A little bit of blobbiness down the bottom, but overhang, you're going to have some of that. But anyway, and then I've added, I couldn't make the arms any wider because I already had all the supports in place. It's a big pain in the butt with this modeling software. So I added that little curve. If I can get out of the way, I can show you the curve. Yeah, there you go. That little curve to add another 0.5 millimeters of support all the way from the end all the way to the where it mounts. See if I can do that. Yeah, more or less. And so anyway, I think this will work. I think this will be a good design. It's fairly minimalistic, which is what I want. I don't want a bunch of, you know, things like this anymore. Now that I've had this, I kind of realize the fallacy of it. So I'm going to do this more minimalistic design, do the magnets, and I think it'll be way more functional and more appealing as well. Maybe I'll do half black and half red. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, here is the finished product. This is the upper brace to hold onto the plexiglass. Holes for the magnets. Just a supports out the butt because of all the breaking that happens. This one looks good. This one right here, it's got just a little bit, focus. Got a little bit of stringing, not bad, something I can definitely improve on, but easily cleaned as well. But anyway, this here is the first successful print I've had, and I got rid of the raft. Man, I was having problems with rafts. Whew. You get the suckers to where they work and hold your part in place, at least with ABS, and you can't get the damn things off. So anyway, got rid of the raft, ditched it. Don't need it apparently for this build tack plate anyway. But at any rate, focus. You piece of crap. Duh. There we go. Anyway, that's the finished product. So this will mount right. Oop, get rid of this. Right up here, maybe. If I can get everything out of the way. With one hand, it's a bit of a trick. Do it. Come on. Okay, stay right there, and I'll come in from the inside. There we go. Oh, crap. totally got it. We got this. Yay! Okay. Whew. So, that mounts just like that, which is pretty darn decent as far as the angles go. And from the inside, if I can just cooperate here. There we go. So you see we got the bolts on the top and bottom here holding this this brace in place. This fits right around that bolt. I didn't want to have to take out the bolt because it holds those little T nuts in the grooves of that aluminum extrusion, and they're a huge pain in the ass to put in. So I went around it, and then I just have to screw this up right up to the top. So it's going to be some pretty small screws, but it'll hold it securely in place and be, sorry, finger in the way, be totally perfect. Yeah, even holds without me. There we go. So, and you can tell it clears the carriage perfectly, of course. So this will work out really, really well. So I got 3 more of these guys to print, and then, or sorry, 2 more of these guys to print, and then 3 of the bottom ones, and that'll be done.